Good evening and welcome to NFL Insider. I'm your host Kanishk, and joining me on the panel today is Monica and Daniel, and we're going to talk about the economics behind the Green Bay Packers and their public ownership model. So guys, we know that the Green Bay Packers are the only team with a public ownership model. What are your thoughts on this, Monica?
Well, Green Bay has zero debt while its competitors have high levels of debt. And you can see in the on-field results, you look at the New York Jets in 2010, they made the playoffs. What was their debt value then?
It was about 61%.
Last year, they failed to make the playoffs. A disappointing season to say.
Yeah, and then they had 58% in that year, so it's pretty telling stats there.
Yeah.
So Dan, what do you think on the public ownership?
Well, the NFL put a ban on public ownership for new teams coming into the NFL, but Green Bay Packers are allowed to remain due to a grandfather clause. Basically, they were here before the NFL put in that rule. And but they also break a few other rules of the NFL. They have more than 32 members, and no member has more than 30% stake in that team. So along with tax exemptions, it's really not fair.
We had our roving reporter Reese on the streets just to see what the public thought.
Hi, I'm Reese Murray and I'm reporting for the NFL Insider. I'm currently down at Lambeau Field, and earlier today I managed to find some insightful comments about the public ownership structure in the NFL from an unexpected source. Don't know whether I should disturb him, but anyway. Hey mate, you there? Yeah. Hi, I'm Reese Murray for the NFL Insider. Just got a couple of questions to ask you. What do you think about the Green Bay Packers' success?
Oh, look, they're a great team. They have great initiative, and they're great players. Just always get the job done.
No, that's fair enough. It's quite true. Do you think that the public structure of their ownership model contributes to this success?
Well, look, seeing as every other team in the NFL doesn't have that structure, they have to raise their funds through debt financing. Green Bay Packers can raise it from their loyal shareholders who are always willing to kick in something. So, yeah, it definitely creates a competitive imbalance. What with them being a not-for-profit organisation, they get multiple tax exemptions anyway. So, yeah, definitely.
Well, I've never actually ever thought of it like that. Thanks for your input. Yep, and this is Reese Murray reporting for the NFL Insider.
Welcome back to NFL Insider. So guys, we've talked about the public ownership model. Now, there's a few terms that have been thrown around like win maximizers and profit maximizers.
Well, Kanishk, not many people know what a win maximizing team is.
Well, a win maximizing team is a team that has a high win percentage, it has a low operating income, or in some cases even negative, and their player expenses are quite high.
Well, in that case, what's a profit maximising team?
Well, a profit maximizing team is a team that has a low win percentage. They would have quite a high operating income, and their player expenses would be quite low to facilitate that high operating income.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, Kanishk, because last season the Kansas City Chiefs had the lowest win percentage with 12.5%, but they also had the lowest player expenses in the league. Now, they also have a pretty low debt-to-value ratio, and their operating income is fairly high in comparison to their market size.
Market size? Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, Dan, because Pittsburgh has near identical market size to Kansas City, and yet I'd say that they're a win maximizing team, as evidenced by the highest player expense in the league. They pay their players $172 million a year, so that's obviously they won the on-field results. Off the field, they're actually operating income at a loss, so they're not too fazed by that.
Well, that's where Green Bay is so different. It's a publicly owned team, while Kansas City and Pittsburgh are privately owned. But we have the characteristics of both these teams in regards to a high win percentage, low debt, and an operating income which is significant when you look at their market size. Just to have a look at the differences here, we'll have a look at the win percentages, where you've got Green Bay with 68% and Pittsburgh with 50, Kansas City with 12.5. So you can see there's quite a differentiation in the win percentages between these three teams, with Green Bay having the biggest because of its you would argue because of its public ownership model.
Well, we have some exclusive footage of Coach Mick McCarthy and the new draftee from Florida. Look at yourself. That was one of the worst performances I've ever seen from you. We drafted you first for a reason. No one comes to Green Bay with a losing attitude.
Sorry, Coach.
Don't talk! You play for the fans. You don't play for the money. You play for the wins. You play for the W's. What's your name?
Jack Debo.
Tell me again.
Jack Debo.
I want to hear Jack Tebow, that's right. Back it up. It's Tebow time.
And now, an ad from our sponsor.
I didn't get up there.
I'm Jack Tebow, and I drink Coke every day. Coca-Cola, proud sponsor of the NFL Insider.
Well, guys, as we just established that Green Bay's presence in the league diminishes the competitive balance, Monica, what would be a solution they do bring up to improve competitive balance in the league?
Well, I'd personally suggest that the NFL implement a dead value equity floor. If you look at Green Bay's debt to equity ratio last year, it was actually 2%. The league average is 15%. So, if you push a number up to 10%, I reckon that would reduce competitive imbalance.
Just as an input, I would say that cap the amount of shares that Green Bay could issue to the market. Currently, they can issue as many shares as they would like. I see this as being one of the factors for the imbalance, and I think that by capping it, we improve the balance by ensuring that they have to go to the debt market for some of their financing projects.
Well, I would go even further to say that the NFL stopped Green Bay from issuing shares ever again.
Well, how is that possible, Dan? Why doesn't the NFL just force the sale of Green Bay to a private investor?
Well, the NFL commissioners would all have to approve the sale. In the current times, I don't think that's very likely.
Well, that's all been pretty good suggestions, and I think it's been quite insightful for our viewers. For our viewers, if you'd like to join the discussion and the debate, hashtag us at NFL Insider, or you send us an email at ross.booth@monash.edu.au. And thanks again, that's a wrap.